All right. Hey, guys. Welcome to Staff Chat Episode 2. We'll introduce ourselves again. I'm Adam. I'm the Visual Arts Director at Cross Church. Go ahead,
I'm John. Oh, thanks. I'm John. I'm the Mobilization Pastor at Cross Church and the Staunton Campus Pastor.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I forgot you have technically two titles. I'm Cameron Lewis, and I'm the youth pastor at the Carmel campus.
And I'm Eric. I'm the network worship pastor based out of the Carlinville campus.
So what we're going to do here is just, have fun, talk, spread some positivity. So you can kind of get to know us a little bit, but also we just get to hang out and enjoy ourselves. Well, we can't, work in the office every day like normal. So what we've decided today is each of us are going to bring a headline, and then we're each going to have a topic. So does anyone in particular want to go first?
First of all, Alex has mentioned that she really likes my shirt. Because I texted her yesterday and said, hey, can you make this design for me so that I can make a shirt? And I'm very excited that she did it.
Wait, so you printed it already?
She made the logo for me and sent it to me. I printed it on my Cricut and put it on my shirt last night. And then I'm going to make one for you, Adam, and one for Cameron. Nice. And I'm trying to figure out something to do for Eric because he no longer has a beard. But I did go through many of your Facebook photos yesterday, Eric, and you used to have at least a short little, stubbly beard there. And I thought maybe I could just make one for him and encourage him to grow a beard like a real man.
No, I only wear, like we said last time, I only grow them during extensive heat waves. That's it.
Yeah.
Another time.
Well, maybe it would warm up a little bit. I think it's supposed to be like 81 on Tuesday. So my interesting story didn't actually happen this week, but it was about a month ago. And my wife just pointed out that it's my Cricut that I use, and it is. Along the line of crickets, though, I read an article today from about a month ago. The headline of the article says, "Waiter, there's a fly in my waffle. Belgian researchers try out insect butter." That's the headline.
Okay.
I know a whole slew of my friends that would just vomit.
We talking like the butter is physically made out of an insect? Or are we talking like they added insects to butter?
No. So I read the article, and they extract larvae from bugs.
Oh, that's so much worse.
And make butter. Yeah. It's not like a bug puree spread on like butter. It's bug larvae.
Somebody's been watching a little bit too much Timon and Pumbaa, I believe.
So reading through the article, they were looking for a more sustainable way to make butter. And they suggested that bugs are more sustainable than cows because it uses less water to make butter out of bug larvae than it does with cows. And they take up less space, geographically speaking. But they also noted that when they mix it with actual normal like cow butter, I guess, they can only get to about 25% bug larvae and 75% normal butter before there's an awkward taste and people don't want it anymore.
So basically bug butter is bad. So
So you have to mix it. 25% bug butter. But that does lead me to the question, what kind of recipes do you have going on in your quarantine that we all need to eat? Because that's pretty much all we're doing is eating. So bugs excluded, because I don't have any plans on making bugs. But what are you guys eating that is super delicious right now?
Well,
I was like, what the chef?
Some super easy things you could do with Crock-Pot, and that's like a huge hero because you're being fed for days on that one pretty much. You get I think it's just really simple stuff too. You get like 3 chicken breasts. You get like probably a fourth of butter. Put that in there.
Normal butter.
Yeah, normal butter, not insect. You get 2 big cans of the cream of chicken, and then 1 can of the chicken broth. And then you're just letting that go for like on low for like 8 hours, and then get the egg noodles in there, and you got some really awesome chicken and noodles by the time we just finished it up, and I think I made it like probably 4 days ago or something like that. So
That's awesome.
makes a huge amount.
Man, sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
I made some chicken parmesan like 3 days ago, and but I didn't have any breadcrumbs or like panko or like anything like that. But I had pork rinds, so I just like put them in a gallon baggie and was just like smashing it with some.
Nice.
I mean, that works.
Yep.
That's innovative.
They turned out perfect. Like they were delicious.
For burgers and stuff in the summertime, I won't use breadcrumbs. I'll generally either use those club crackers, and put them in a bag and do like the rolling pin over it and use those as the breadcrumbs, and it's really good.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we haven't made any recipes yet, but I've been really wanting donuts, and so we're gonna try to make donuts.
Yeah.
And I actually got this old recipe from my mother that she has hanging on her wall, which is from my grandma, and it's like icebox donuts or something, and it uses like lard and some crazy. Yeah, so like we're gonna try to make those, and I don't know. Apparently they're really good, but
do you just have lard at your house? Or did you have to go to Walmart and buy lard?
I had to go buy some lard. I bought it whenever we had like a huge I had to go grocery shopping, so bought all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm sure if anything, Amazon has lard available because I don't know how many people are buying it. And then we're gonna probably make some rolls and stuff too, but had to buy yeast, which Walmart didn't have. So
a quick way to bypass that. This one's from my grandma. She used to buy just the crescent roll deal. Do that and kind of like unfold it and like loop it, and then you just kind of like pretzel it, fry it, and then just right out of the fryer into the sugar, not powdered sugar, I don't think, just the regular sugar, and then they're just awesome.
You do like cinnamon sugar? That's a great idea.
Yeah, you can do any kind of sugar you want. Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, Grandma had the good recipes.
All right.
Those doughs are legit. Like you can do anything. Biscuits, you can do biscuits.
One more easy one too. While we're like with the crock pot stuff, this one's super easy. It involves chicken breast again. So go with the chicken breast. Get a bag of the frozen onion, red and green pepper. Just coat it with that again. Probably about a fourth cup of butter. And then just over the top of that, just sprinkle that chicken taco seasoning over it. And as long as you got like, soft tortillas and stuff later, you got an awesome meal there again. That one's, I think DTAT has used that a couple times. That was when I was making them with actual peppers. And then I was just like, wait a minute, they got a bag of frozen stuff. So it all just kind of like simmers down anyway. And the flavor just gets in there. So yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone particularly want to go next for their headline?
Oh, I can if you want.
Okay. Go ahead.
So my headline, it's a couple weeks old, but I went to the gold mine of all weird headlines, the state of Florida.
Yes. Yes.
There were some pretty dark ones in there. And I sifted through all those. And this one's kind of interesting because a Florida man was arrested for impersonating an officer just days after going to jail for the same crime. So what this dude was doing is he basically was impersonating an officer to get through like toll bridges. And there was another one with like shoplifting. I didn't fully understand how that comes about. It's like, in what situation you just run into a gas station or something and be like, it's okay, it's an emergency Twinkie, and then run back out the door. I'm an officer. I don't understand how that works. So apparently he was shoplifting, doing this, and going past tolls.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's, I mean, sadly, that's normal. I feel like if you go to jail for one thing, you come back out and you're probably going to go to jail for it again, you know?
Well,
but
But do police officers get to go through tolls without being charged? Or is he like pulling up to the toll window and he's like talking to the lady like, sorry, I'm like pursuing this car in front of me. I have to go.
So
maybe.
So the way the tolls work, and maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but there are tolls where there's people in them, and then there's like what they call like the Sunrise Pass or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
Sun Pass.
And then you just drive through, and the camera gets it. So maybe it's just like instead of stopping, actually, they just like drove past.
Yeah, and then he was like trying to fight and say that he was a cop. Maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know how that works, but yeah, the state of Florida rolls out many weird ones. But an officer at the end of that was saying, "Hey, he wanted to know how to be an officer, but now he's going to get to know what it's like to be an inmate." So pretty good.
Oh, geez. So mine. So Dr. Fauci or Fauci, however you want to say it, has been in the news a lot, obviously, because he's like the infectious disease guy. But so apparently he's going to get his own bobblehead. And this is the crazy part. There is this place called the National Bobblehead Hall of Fame and Museum in Milwaukee.
Dang.
And so they're making a bobblehead and he's going to go in this museum. And I was like, I mean, number one, being a bobblehead is weird and cool, and you're an infectious disease guy, you know, so like that's a weird thing. But then on top of that, the fact that there's a Hall of Fame and museum for just bobbleheads, like I would not expect that was a thing. I'd like to know how many people go to that.
Yeah.
And what does it take to get inducted into the Bobblehead Hall of Fame? Like, I understand baseball Hall of Fame inductions, rock and roll Hall of Fame inductions, but to be inducted into the Bobblehead Hall of
Yeah, it says it picked Fauci because many people see the plain-speaking expert on the coronavirus as a hero. Mm-hmm. So maybe you have to be some form of hero or some form of, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm sure there's a website that you can see, I guess. But,
yeah. Is there a fan portion where we can vote on next year's inductees?
Oh no!
And do they have a write-in portion?
I was going to say that could go horribly wrong.
Yeah. Oh geez. What's your article, Cameron?
Yeah. Well, okay. So mine's not technically an article. Actually, it's not an article at all. So.
Oh.
I found a news video, local. It's in St. Louis. And the headline, here, let me look at it. Man in St. Louis bar, get this, here we go, lights a cigarette while ignoring an armed robber. They had
I've seen this video.
They had the security footage of this guy. It was like it wasn't like it. It had like a butt on it. It was like what I think they said it was like a heavily upgraded pistol. So like it had a butt on it and everything, but it was a pistol. And the guy, the robber, was standing behind the bar with the gun to him, and the guy just pulls out a lighter, a cigarette, and just lights it, and just like tried to take his phone, and like the guy was just like yanked his phone back. Like the people in there, like basically called him a hero because the way he reacted, like he didn't take anybody's stuff, just only took the cash register and the cash in it and like dipped out. It was, if you have a chance, like seriously, watch the video. It's kind of crazy.
That dude was stone cold.
Like Liam Neeson and Taken. Like, you don't know what you're about to do. Like, let me just light my cigarette and calm down, because if I don't, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, it was like, oh, dude, I don't care. You're not gonna. And I mean, he even had the gun held to him, and stuff. And he was just like, I'm just gonna keep drinking.
Yeah.
I was like, at first, I was thinking like maybe this is like part of the coronavirus social distancing, and he's like, well, I'm not gonna get close enough to this guy to give him my stuff, so I'm just gonna stand 6 feet away and smoke my cigarette. But I don't think that was the case.
No,
Speaking of that,
when they interviewed him, he was just like, I'm just tired of these these people trying to muscle their way in and BS their way through stuff. And he's like, so I just wasn't going to give a crap. I was like, right on, man.
I'm tired of it. Every Friday night I get robbed. No more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this thing today. It was a cop, and they were like, "Hey, basically, you can't say you can't get me because of social distancing and then run away from us. We're gonna arrest you." And then he was like, "Right?" And then you hear the person in the back going, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
Can I just say though, with the social distancing though, so I had to run up to Dollar General to get some hamburger buns for dinner because we ate all of them. And they have all the lines taped down on the floor, right? 6 feet apart, whatever it is they're supposed to do. The place was packed, which surprised me, but I guess everybody else needed hamburger buns too. Can I just say, if you're in the store and you notice that the person in front of you is visibly standing 6 feet away from the person in front of them in line, don't walk up and breathe on the back of their neck.
Yeah.
Like this has to work two ways. Me
Right.
staying 6 feet away from the person in front of me does no good when the person behind me in line is going to stand right next to me like this doesn't even matter.
Kind of a close talker.
Yeah.
Evan said that we should be inducted into the Bobblehead Hall of Fame.
Oh, geez.
The entire Cross Church.
Thank you. Thank you, Evan.
Yeah.
Here, we should go ahead
And that
and
includes Alex.
we should go ahead and practice right now.
All I'm saying is my vote is for the guy that likes a cigarette. So
He is a hero. They labeled him a hero.
it was kind of crazy. They were interviewing the actual bar owner, and he had no eyebrows, but he had like tattooed eyebrow like tribal spikes, and I was like, "This is a beautiful start to a video."
Oh man.
And
But that's like a real thing, though. They're like women who shave off their eyebrows and then tattoo them on.
yeah.
Like, I don't get it, but
Whatever.
You had me worried. You had me worried, Cameron, with this isn't actually a news article at all.
Yeah.
This is actually a flyer that I found on a post outside.
On my door and left this.
So my topic is kind of a question. So basically, one of the things that I've always thought about is if your house was on fire and everything, so your pets, your family, all that stuff is okay, what's one thing you would run in and grab if you had the time?
Oh dang.
Which is a hard question. So mine is probably my Star Wars toys that I've had since I was a kid. So I'd grab this one tub of Star Wars toys. Yeah, because they're important,
Your life, risking your life for a Star Wars toy.
Oh yeah.
One thing in my house. I don't really have anything cool in my house.
I mean, it could be like a picture, or it could be something that was given to you.
I want to say like I'd grab my computer, but all of that's backed up in the cloud now. So we used to have a hard drive where like a network hard drive, we put all the photos and stuff in it. This was pre-cloud. And we thought, oh, this is the most secure thing because it's on the network and we can access it. And so if a computer goes down, but in Japan, they have like geckos and they just like live in your house and you leave them there because they eat all the bugs. Well, a gecko was like pooping in the hard drive and destroyed the hard drive. Gecko poop ruined the hard drive. My wife can tell you that this is true over there in the comments. But the hard drive was ruined. So now everything is on the cloud. So, I'm not grabbing the computer because it's not worth risking anything. But we were going through, if I looked around the room right now, you would see like everything in my room is in boxes because we're getting ready to move. Right. So, in one of these boxes, I can't tell you which one, is a bunch of old photos from when I was younger, when Gretchen was younger, some photos of our kids when they were babies, before we were kind of doing things on digital cameras and stuff. And so I would sort through boxes and find the correct one and take that one box. So.
I don't really have anything special in my house other than my my family, my pets.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nothing special.
I honestly, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. If I had to, I guess though, I would take the
Your singlet.
No, I don't have that. I would take the makeshift fantasy football championship belt that I got from some high school.
Oh gosh.
So you can still gloat.
Yeah, it's literally a WWE heavyweight like championship belt, and then over it, it's like masking tape that says fantasy football on it. It's pretty awesome.
I made that same belt for youth group down here in Collinsville for our pumpkin chunkin champion, and it got passed around from year to year. So if you won, you got the belt, and then next year if you didn't win again, the belt was taken from you and given to someone else.
That's, yeah.
I think Jamie might have a better idea. I don't know.
Thank you, Adam.
Apparently, I don't.
I was sending you some messages, Adam.
I guess maybe I guess is that a good answer?
What is it?
Is that the wedding picture book?
There you go.
That's a good answer.
Yeah,
right?
that's a better answer now that your wife is chiming in.
She also said that it's in the middle of her mantle.
Yeah,
that to me is amazing.
Decorations.
It's so important to you that it's right in the middle of your mantle.
Yeah,
But you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't have anything important in the house that I would get.
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Jeez. What about you?
Am I able? First, a question: am I able to put the sentence "all the" in front of the thing that I'm grabbing?
Sure.
He's
All the
packing
pedals.
up his little cart that he has after worship.
They
Rolls
probably-
his cart in and packs it all up.
Yeah. So I would say all the guitars or all the pictures. Like we have a wedding book as well of stuff that's not really like backed up. It was a little bit older. So, but wait, I'll just go ahead and scan those. And so I'll just say all the guitars
Yeah. There you go.
or all the gear.
Yeah. Everything musical. Eric, why did you run in 12 times? I gotta grab everything.
Well, the pedals, in my mind, the pedals can be replaced. But I think I had this conversation with John the other day. Like the guitar and the player itself, once you find a guitar that's really, you become like attached to it. It's almost like an extension of yourself where you're just so fluid on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're just so.
Well, I mean, it's like when you lost your acoustic, it's just like all those memories and all those. Because I mean, how many every ding and stuff on your Telecaster, what those are from, or how many shows you played, and like all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
And
memories
one being
there.
from my uncle as well. The Stratocaster being from my uncle, so it's like that's why I wanted to know all the or
Probably
precisely a really tough choice between those two in particular.
Precisely the reason that Willie Nelson plays with a hole in his guitar.
Yeah. Yep. Tree.
Hey, Amtrak's coming through.
I'll mute.
All right. So,
I'm the only one not muted other than you, so I think
apparently.
discussion
Yeah,
gets
go
to
ahead.
go next.
Go ahead for your topic, I guess.
So my topic's a little bit different, and it was kind of confusing even while I was trying to explain it to everybody, including my wife. So I looked through what the suggestions were last week, and then tried to match up some of those suggestions with what we're talking about, and still keeping it kind of lighthearted and relevant. And so I started thinking about everything that we're going through currently with coronavirus, with this stay-at-home order, shelter-in-place, safer at home, whatever you want to call it, from state to state. And I was thinking about how God works. And what came to mind first and foremost was what we see in Scripture with Jonah, and what happens with Jonah and his life. And as we read through the book of Jonah and we read about everything that's going on, we kind of get this 30,000-foot picture with all of the context and all of the details and why things are happening. But my discussion that I want to talk about is what would that look like if we stripped away all of the context? What would it look like if you looked at the story of Jonah without knowing why any of it was happening. And so, I was thinking just from an outside perspective, that's probably the best term to use. You see Jonah's life and you see all these things that happen to him. Whatever it is, he gets on a boat and this bad storm comes and they don't know why. And they're going around the boat and they figure, oh, it's got to be this guy. So let's throw him overboard. And the man's thrown off of the boat and not knowing why, right? We know why now looking back, but not knowing why that's going on. And then he's swallowed by a big fish. And now, we look at that and we're like, well, that doesn't happen. But that's what happened. And still not knowing why. And then he's spit out by the big fish on the shore. And then still not knowing any of that. How does the story change with Jonah or any other aspect looking back in your life, not knowing the context?
Oh, just about like anything. How does the story change?
Sure. Yeah, I was really just using Jonah as kind of the example to set it up because I feel like that's a good example of what I'm looking for. But
yeah. Well, I think we'll just currently in this time. It's just, I mean, what we're going through is crazy. Is absolutely crazy. I went and got. Long story short, I was out, grabbed McDonald's, and was taking a soda to my wife. And like driving through there, there's one way in, one way out, and like there's a big trailer sitting there, and I had to get what they call scanned or what, I can't remember what the exact term is, whatever it is. And so I had to get my temperature taken. I had to go around the back, and it's a guy in a mask and a plastic mask over top of that. And then when I got back there, they have a triage tent. And so she works in the ER. And what happens before anybody even goes in, if it's respiratory, something that has to do with respiratory, they go to the triage tent and they're screened. Thank you, my beautiful wife. Screened. They get screened there, and I was just sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, this is crazy. It's a tent that I would picture for a medical mission trip, or what I would picture for an epidemic or something in Africa. And I'm like, this is in my hometown, and I don't know if I'm even answering the question by talking about where I'm going with this, but outside, take that out of the picture. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that we're in this moment, that we're currently in a life, in a place that is something that I would never expect to be a part of. Now, bring God back into it. I think, picture a mash tent. That's exactly, literally that's so accurate. Except it has a giant generator on the side of it and heats and cools it if need be, which is way better than a mash tent. But put God back in the picture, and I just think inside of all of this, it just brings us back to a place that we can be humbled before Him, and we can be humbled in His presence, and rely on Him in these moments. I thought about, I had a conversation with a guy the other day, and he gave me this verse to read because I told him I was a youth pastor, and I had a conversation, and it was in 2 Chronicles, and basically, long story short, it says, I'll send a plague, I'll send all of these things, but if you choose to pray and you choose to humble yourself before me, then you will then surely hear my voice and be blessed. And so if we don't think about those things, it's scary. If we take God out of the picture, it's really, really scary. That we're living in a time and a world that all of these things are happening. But if we bring Him back into it and we see the context that He brings to our current situation, it's encouraging. And I know that sounds really weird and kind of strange, but it's encouraging. I don't know. That's kind of my view. That's my thought. Sorry if I didn't answer your question properly.
No, that's exactly the discussion that I want to have. I'm not trying to take what we're going through with coronavirus and say, oh, this parallels to what's happened in the Bible. I'm not trying to say, oh, this is the end of times. If you go and read this verse, you'll know exactly what's happening. Yeah. I don't believe that that's true. But I do believe that if you look at the life of Jonah or John the Baptist or anybody in Scripture, and you see all of these horrible things that happen, and then you put the context into it, and you look at it and say, okay, that was horrible that happened, but we know that God was at work in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, it's because, I mean, you look at Jonah's story and you're like, dude, man, that dude's got a lot of bad luck.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the, okay, so
bad attitude.
Bad attitude. But yeah, you get on a boat and now it's storming terribly, and then you draw straws and you get kicked off the boat, and then you get swallowed by a fish, and then you get thrown up on land. It's like, dude can't catch a break, but then, you get to after and you see the context. And I think that can be applied to all of our lives. It's like, I like to think of it like you're watching a movie and you stop right before like the climax of the movie, and then you never watch the end. It's like, you don't see the context, or, I would say spoiler alert, but this movie's been out for forever. But so Sixth Sense, the twist with you've never seen it before.
How dare you?
with the twist at the end.
Too late. It's past the statute of limitation on that.
Yeah. With the twist at the end, that you find out that he sees dead people, and then whenever you go back and watch the movie again, you can see all these times where you thought the things were true that you saw, but then you realize, oh, he's really looking past her, or he's not looking at this person that you thought they were talking to, kind of thing. And so it's kind of crazy when you look at, like, when you can finally see the end, just like in our lives, we're in this crazy time and we're like, what is going on? Why are these things, affecting us in the way we are? And then you finally get past and you get out of it and you're like, oh, that's why these things happen. This happened so that it could get to this point, so that it could get to this point, which is, something that Tim talks about all the time. Like the path kind of thing, where he goes from one side of the stage to the other.
I love that you connected that to a movie, because as you started talking about, it reminded me of the movie, The Book of Eli. I don't know if everybody's seen it, but if not, I'm going to ruin it for you. The Book of Eli, the first time you watch it, you're like, what in the world is going on? And then you get to the end of the movie, you find out that he was blind the whole time. He has the entire King James Bible memorized, verse for verse, can recite it so that it can be written down. You're like, man, that's amazing. And then they close the book and they stick it on the shelf with all the other books, like it's nothing. But everybody throughout the entire movie was fighting for that book.
Yeah.
But when you watch it, having known the end, knowing that he's blind, knowing that he can't see everything, or whatever it is, you look at it from a different perspective, and you're like, wow, like that's how he's able to hunt the cat in the opening scene, because all of his other senses are heightened, and he can feel that cat moving across the field, or whatever it is, or hear it better, or whatever. So that's awesome. So I keep looking out the window, and I'm sorry for that. I'm smoking burgers, and so I'm texting Hayden instructions on what he's supposed to do. And they were supposed to have been done, but my smoker is not heating up enough. And so I'm like watching him out the window to make sure that my burgers are smoked appropriately. Sorry, Eric. On to you.
That's all right. We're here to spoil movies.
That's why we're here. Of course.
That was the topic we brought. But no, with Jonah, man, I was prepared to talk about all things Jonah. I didn't know you were going to throw that curveball. But I would say in that context, I would like, well, Jonah is a bit of like the Charlie Brown of the Bible type thing in that sense. But then I was like, no, I think that Job has those exclusive rights right there. Because it was so much worse luck. But yeah, when Jonah's attitude never changed, even all through that, like you're saying, like how in the book of Eli, where the book is just placed back on there, after Jonah tells the people of Nineveh all the stuff and they begin to change, he, sits up there expecting God's wrath to still fall upon them. And, God shades them in a, bit of mercy type thing, but still he stays up there. And so, I mean, Jonah's story is a little unique. In my world, if God wasn't involved, then I'm just a guy that can play and sing fairly well, just singing some songs on stage. If he wasn't the driving force behind that, I mean, there's flesh stuff that's in that. Like, people can connect to songs and everything, but I think it's a little bit different when you're talking about the realm of worship and that connectivity, not to each other and not to a feeling that we all, would have. But there's something that stretches beyond that. That's why, a lot of people will say like worship transcends, and just collectively where everybody is, with the Sundays that we have that are just so powerful, are when everybody is connecting onto that same network, if you will, of connectivity to God, and not just, oh man, yeah, I like that song. And what is Cameron doing back there? He's getting
food for Avery.
Oh, okay, I see. But yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to, is where my path to being worship pastor at the church, it was like sometimes you don't even realize you're on a certain course that God has you on. Why I came back from St. Louis and who I was working around, where I was at Lake Williamson when I came back, and there was all these things. You look back now, it's like, oh, that's why that person was in my life, and that's why that person, did this, and that's why I was here, and that's why I went there. And it, looking back on it, you can see the whole story now. But at the time, you're just like, fighting against it a bit, like Jonah did. Like, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go this way. You're trying to push me that way. You're going basically against the current.
Yeah.
And God, no matter what, he's going to shift you back in a position where you can make a good choice, the one that is going to be glorifying him.
Yeah. Well, I think we see that. Oh, also, apologize. Jamie is working currently, and AJ wanted to snack. So.
Snacks are important.
They are.
We know that's the biggest lesson we've learned in this quarantine.
Yes, snacks are so important. But I think we see that. I think we can see that throughout the Bible. I mean, when you're saying that, like, it instantly reminds me of like when Saul became, blind and all those things. But like Ananias was told to go see him, and Ananias is like, "Why in the world would I do that? Like, he's killing people. Actually, I'm packing my stuff up right now to leave because he's killing them." And like, God's like, no, like, go do this. And we don't see the big picture, and we get to see it at the end. And when we're through something, when we're sitting in that victory, but in the moment and like the battle or the walk to that, it's a lot harder to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully all of that is super encouraging, because we're in a place where it might be really hard to see the victory. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the whole point of this conversation, is just that hope that we know that we have, but sometimes we lose sight of because we're right in the middle of it. If Jonah didn't know the context of what was happening, if God hadn't spoke to him and said, this is what's going to happen in your life, as he's in the belly of that fish or thrown overboard or whatever it is, it's so easy to get discouraged. It's so easy to give up. But Jonah knew that. And he still ends up in the belly of the fish, and he still ends up kicking rocks at the end, pouting with his arms crossed like a little baby because it didn't happen like he wanted it to happen, even knowing all of it. So I think just that encouragement and reminder in the middle of this that we have a hope. We may not understand it all right now. We may not completely grasp, even 2 months, 3 months, a year from now, what it is that we had to go through. But God has a plan in all of that. So,
And it can be that God still chose Jonah, even though he was a brat.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, I just posted a link in the chat on both Facebook and YouTube, but that newer song, well, it's not newer. I mean, it's about 6 months old from Elevation, called "See a Victory."
Yes.
And like talks about, I'm going to see a victory, for the battle belongs to you. You know, so like it's talking about how like we will see victory, even though we may feel like it's lost right now.
Yeah.
You know, there is going to be a victory. So
I think that's why. I think that's why Waymaker was on Michaela's heart as well. Like, you know, I had heard the song, but maybe not fully. And then that bridge hits where even when I don't see it, you're working.
Right.
And that's just kind of like the whole big message of it. And that's, you know, like tie it back into that is who you are. Just great message during this time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Cameron or Eric, do you want to bring your topic?
I was gonna say, we're already at 41 minutes. Are we even gonna get through all of our topics?
Yeah.
Oh, you're dang right. We're gonna get through all of our topics.
We're gonna
Mine's pretty easy. Mine's pretty easy. Like,
Mine is too.
Cameron, do you want to do rock paper scissors for it? Ready?
Yeah. Well, oh wait, 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Rock paper scissors shoot.
Okay.
Rock
Paper, scissors, shoot. That was so hard. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Why is this?
Paper, scissors, shoot. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what winning means. Does that mean you get to go, or you get to defer?
Oh.
I thought it was like winning the coin toss.
Yeah. I thought you were going first because I won. No, I'm just kidding. So, something that I've been kind of wanting to do is learn the guitar, and I think I have plenty of time, plenty of opportunities to be able to put some time into that. I don't own a guitar, but you know, I'm gonna hit up some connections and try and see if I can just do, you know, piece by piece and get somewhere there. And so I guess my question is, what are some hobbies that you guys have been maybe picking up, or some hobbies that you've had but haven't had a whole lot of time to do, and like you're maybe finding more time for that? Or ideas, hobby ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got lots of ideas, all kinds of things I want to do.
Sure.
It's just not happening. I've tend to have been sleeping a little more now, if that counts as a hobby.
Yeah.
There are lots of projects that have to happen. That, you know, that honeydew list that's never ending. And we worked on that a little bit today, and a little bit the other day, and a little bit, you know, here or there. But it's not. Can you hear Holden? Yeah. Okay. I didn't.
Yes.
I guess he could come in. It's not happening like all at once, like I expected it to. You know. So.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
I'm glad to see that you're wearing pants.
Yes, I am wearing pants.
You know, it's always the question: are any of us actually wearing pants? We don't know. You know.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
So
And
you
then sometimes you forget, and then you stand up. Oh man. Oh yeah. Gabby said painting minis. She's been wanting to do that. Miniatures for like D&D, Dungeons and Dragons for those non-nerd people.
Okay, is she actually painting them now, or she wants to do it because you're in quarantine?
So she has paints, she has brushes, we've primed the minis. She just needs to actually paint them now. So she wants to like learn and get better. She's painted before, but not like. So for me, I've been wanting to really get into film photography, and I actually want to like develop film myself.
Ooh.
So I don't know if that's really possible in this amount of time, but that's one of the things that I'm like wanting to do. And then I also saw somebody, which I've never seen anyone. I mean, maybe I've seen somebody do this, but somebody was taking some photos with some black and white film, and they actually like took naturey or like cool like landscapey or like windows, like that kind of stuff, shots, and then they rolled it back and then double exposed like people over it, and it was super cool. So I want to do that as well. But yeah, I would love to actually develop film, and then my end goal of all this is to use something like Super 8 or something like that and actually make a video with it, which I think would be super cool, but also very difficult. So
that leaves Eric.
I got a train going too. It's at a bad time.
That means it's coming for me too.
Right next to the station, another Amtrak in. Ideas, because my gosh, man, I don't have a lot of time other than I've been trying to improve on guitar and do a few different things that I've seen, like a Berkeley professor, Tomo Fujita. He's been posting almost like daily of things like to try and things like that he will put his students through as a test, and just trying to get those things down. So I've been trying to improve on that. But other things I could be doing, like I said the other day, I think drawing is something I've really always liked to do. And when the kids were drawing, a couple of the days, I would take time and I'd draw these little cartoon things. And Weston, and well, for all that matter, like all my kids are pretty creative in the sense. And it's just like we had years ago been like, hey, why don't we write some just like funny books, like funny kids books and stuff, and I'll illustrate it and you guys can just write the story to it. One of the ones that Weston and I came up with one time is like Pirates Hate Broccoli. So, and basically, here's a spoiler to this book that's not even, so the pirates get so mad that they shoot the broccoli out of the cannon, and then it lands in the ocean. And then the last picture is, incidentally, whales hate broccoli too, and you see it of the.
That's fantastic.
The broccoli.
That sounds like an awesome book. It's kind of like Dragons Love Tacos.
Yes, that's kind of the inspiration behind it. Actually, yeah. I love that book.
I was gonna say it sounds like a perfect kids book.
Speaking of books, you can finally write your book, Eric.
Dude, yeah, that's what I was getting to next. I've been seeing Jeremiah Beck, who used to live around here and go to our church. He's been writing and finishing a book that he's worked on. Is his fantasy and science fiction as well?
I don't know what his is about. I don't think he's really said.
Okay. But he's been knocking pages and pages of that out, and it's been just kind of like in my head, I'm just like, oh man, you could really be doing that. I mean, I'm to the point, I've got the entire story mapped out. I've got all the chapters laid out, and it's just a matter of sitting down and writing it, and I just never have. There's several other stories, but I really do. I enjoy writing, and I enjoy the drawing and stuff, but it's just now finding the time to do that, because I'm kind of here in parent and teacher mode with the kids, making sure they're getting everything they need to know and they don't fall behind, because I think that's one of my biggest concerns right now. It's just like, man, are they getting to know all this stuff that they're going to pick up, start going the next year, all that thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing for those of us who have kids at home, and I know all four of us here do, but maybe not everybody listening does. It's really difficult to get anything done, because we're not in the office, but we're trying to still do our job. We're still taking care of everything. We're still producing content. We're still doing all of that. And our kids are at home. Our spouses are at home. Gretchen's here with me. She's working all day, and she's so diligent in what she does. But at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I feel like I didn't have time for anything.
Yeah.
So, that's why things on the honey-do list are parts and pieces. And I know none of us are alone in that. So, but
Kathy likes the idea, by the way.
Be pretty fun. That's straight from the mind of Weston, though. I can't. He had the general concept on that one.
Yep.
Evan said, in Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Paul is saying that whatever your situation you're in, you can learn to be satisfied. We just have to find that thing to do.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And thankfully, that verse was not used out of context.
Right.
God strengthens you to do not just anything, but things within his will. So, and what he wants to be done.
All right.
It it is kind of difficult. Sorry, I'll continue just for 1 second.
Yeah, you're fine.
It is kind of difficult to find that time, like throughout.
Yeah.
When AJ goes to sleep, we find that we're doing different things and more things. So like Jamie and I have played Animal Crossing together. We're watching, we're trying to be more active in watching things and hanging out. Like I taught her how to play Magic the other night. So
Did you guys watch the Tiger King this week?
So yeah, we're in like episode 4.
It's so bad. Oh my goodness. It's horrible.
I love it.
It is such bad TV. If you haven't started, Eric, don't even start. There's nothing redeemable about it. It's horrible. And you just keep watching thinking like something interesting has got to happen.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Everything about it's bad.
No, I agree.
In my house, the only mention of that has been from Teresa, and she has only asked me, she's like, is that real? What were you watching that? And apparently I was like, no, I hadn't even, this is the first I've heard of Tiger King whatsoever. And I'm glad we didn't start down that rabbit hole, but I'm trying to look up on my phone here. One of my friends had a really funny quote about it.
The only good thing to come out of Tiger King are the memes.
Oh yeah,
the memes are amazing.
Yeah, so. I think my favorite one is Joe Exotic's view, like where it's got the part of a ring on like a landscape. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Basically, it was another reason I stopped planning so much is because if you would have asked me in January what I'd be doing in March, locked inside and learning about the Tiger King would not have been my answer.
Yeah.
No, we definitely would not have watched it if it were not for quarantine. So that's the only way Netflix got any hits on that is because everybody is out of things to watch.
Yeah.
Dude, has everybody that's a suggestion. We were going to go over that, I think, like last time, or maybe it was mentioned for this time. It's like some of the shows that maybe everybody hasn't watched. Like one of mine is I always suggest the BBC Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch.
I still haven't gotten around to that yet.
Dude, I love it so much. I think I've watched through it like three or 4 times now.
Yeah.
I struggle with British television.
Oh, I love it. Can't get enough of
it. Gretchen loves it. She loves all of her masterpiece shows and all of that stuff. And I struggle with British TV. I don't know what it is.
Well, this is Sherlock Holmes. It's not like, I don't watch like Downton Abbey or things like that, but like give me when he's tame, give me the Gordon Ramsay. Give me these British guys. I mean, most of one of the pedal shows that I watched, the one that this is from. Oh, wrong sleeve because it's backwards. Pedal show. Both of those guys are in England, so I mean. Yeah, I get into it, and those two together as Sherlock and Watson. I mean, that's a really good duo to play that roles.
I just have to say to Alex, if our friendship is based on our TV likings, we cannot be friends.
Oh man, no, that's great.
Based on her T-shirt producing abilities. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I don't know. I mean, I would still love one, but I'm also contemplating, because we are in quarantine, shaving my beard and going solo stash. I'm just saying.
Okay, but if you're going to do the stash, you have to do the Joe Exotic, like, all the way down.
No.
Oh, man.
On Instagram the other day, Dave Barnes, musician out of Nashville, I guess in Nashville, they've been growing their mustaches out. So what he did is he filmed himself shaving it off, and he started in the middle.
Yes.
And he just kept laughing like so hard as it got thinner and thinner, and it was just these 2 little bits out here. He couldn't even talk.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I gave myself a haircut, I don't know, 2 days ago, and I was like, I mean, I tried as hard as possible to get most of it, and I was like, Gabby, you're gonna have to help me. And she was like, no. And I said, okay, well, either you help me or by the end of this I have no hair. And she was like, okay. I'll help you.
I'll jump in there and help.
Yeah.
I understand why barbers and beauticians are not working, And I don't think it comes down to whether or not they're essential, but it's that close proximity. Like you're just so close to people all day long because it is essential. Because before long, my head will be shaved as well. If this gets extended past the end of the month, I'm just gonna have a nice little buzz cut again. And so will all boys in the family.
Say that again.
Like he's freezing up over there.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, you got your topic, right?
Oh yes, I almost forgot. So my topic involves just a quick little sort of question. So my brother-in-law collects bottle caps, and so every now and then when I get like a new one, I'll save them for him. And I collect, one of the things that I collect are guitar picks. It's like just different various ones. There's one from like Cooper Effect, one from London that Alex got me when she went over there, and just different pedal companies. What is something that either you guys have somebody you think of if they collect something like bottle caps or something, or are you saving them for them, or what's something that you collect yourself?
So I have five drumsticks and a guitar pick from metal concerts that I've been at. I just somehow, I don't know, I know where to be, and they toss them out to the crowds and I'm able to get them. So I don't have a lot, but it's definitely something that when I go to a metal show, I'm looking for sure.
Cameron's like sneaking backstage and stealing drumsticks before the show so that they can't play. So I collect Monster tabs, but not because I want them, but because I use them to buy stuff from Monster. And I drink a lot of Monster. So I have several hundred of them. I have tons of stickers, like Alex said, stickers on everything that I own. And anytime I can get stickers, I buy them, which is awesome. But other than that, I don't know that there's really anything that I collect. Maybe t-shirts. I have a billion t-shirts. So
I have a problem.
Like from everywhere that I go. Yeah.
Trying to think of my collections.
Oh.
How me and my wife roll.
What's that on the wall right there behind you?
Well, yeah. Okay. First of all, we collect Blu-rays, but that's not my personal collection. We consider so how we operate is we say you can have 3 basically collections. So one of mine is Star Wars. So basically literally anything Star Wars. Like, so one of the things I just got, which made me super excited, is they just released the Skywalker Saga in 4K. And it's like a box set, and it's very pretty. Except the first one I got, the print was off on it, so I got a new one. But so that was exciting. But then I try to have every version of Star Wars that's ever came out, like VHS and DVD and theatrical release and Blu-ray and all those. But then I also collect like film cameras or like film cinema cameras, stuff like that. So if anyone's got any of those, you can give those to me or I can buy them from you. But so like stuff like that, or like I really want to collect old film projectors as well and those kind of things. And then we have a Blu-ray collection that is totally small.
And not that anybody could see it.
Yeah, no.
It goes another 3 feet up too.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my goodness.
There's only about 1,200 there, but who's counting? Wow. I don't have an itemized list on my phone or anything like that. But yeah, so we love movies here.
I get the sticker thing too, like Alex does, but it just so happens that my sticker collection is at the church right now with all the pedal companies, and
Yeah.
different artists and stuff that's on there. So
Yeah, so is mine as well on my fridge.
So
Gabby said Dice. That's her
Yeah.
favorite. She's got way too many of those.
that's awesome.
So don't
and-
get her anymore.
No, she will gladly accept any form of dice tax.
Wow.
I can't even remember what my third collection is. I don't know. Maybe Gabby.
Did that Star Wars 4K come with a digital code?
Yeah,
Yeah. Are you going to use it?
yeah. I always use them.
Okay.
He's running.
He has pants on. Yay!
I'm good.
I've got sweatpants on.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Look at
on,
that.
online the other day. Yeah.
Man, this is the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Oh.
Oh, as it falls out.
Oh yeah, the note from Mark Hamill just fell out. Sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
That's stupid.
It's not like handwritten. I wish it was, but you know.
That's
Yeah.
But yeah,
What a punk! Couldn't even handwrite his own note.
this was my excitement this week.
And I got
'Cause I knew it was coming. But yeah, it's
All right, Eric has pants on too.
pants on too.
It's been proven.
I'm not standing that.
Dude.
You've already walked into the kitchen.
you already stood. You already know you have pants on. All right. Anybody have anything else? Oh, yes, I do have something.
I was gonna say, do you have a topic?
Now I'm scared.
What? I already did
His
my
was
topic.
first.
Was it?
The fire. If you
Yeah.
pull anything from a fire.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I totally forgot.
So there is on Right Now Media, there's a dude named Jason Pokluda. He's, I can't remember what pastor, maybe like Valley Church or something like that. So he just made a 5-part series, I think, about basically anxiety in COVID-19. So that's a new thing you can go watch. And we actually watched the first one with our life group. And that's pretty cool. So if anyone wants to check that out, and if you don't have Right Now Media, you can email info@thecrossmatters.org and get that. So yeah, but yeah, that's really cool, and it's very relevant. Like it's specifically about COVID-19 and the anxiety and fear about that, and so it's a pretty cool thing. Oh, Alex said the link will be posted on the Cross Church page tomorrow. So if you want the link, you can check that out. Yeah. Anybody have anything else to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we do any sort of question portion or?
I don't know. I mean, we're already at 62 minutes right now.
Yeah, from the people who are here, I don't know about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, make sure you're checking out all the stuff that we're doing throughout the week. We hope you can join us tomorrow morning for our service at 9 a.m. online. And then also we hope you can join us next week as well for Easter. So I'm excited to get to Easter, and it's going to be a little weird, but it's going to be cool as well that we can all kind of worship from home and things like that. Speaking of that, if you guys want to film a video that says what the resurrection means to you, please do that, because nobody has sent me anything yet. So if you want to send it to adam@thecrossmatters.org, that'd be awesome, because then we can have your video and put it on Easter. So hi, kids.
The church. She wants to go.
All right.
All right.
She wants to go to church.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
It was
Well,
fun.
this was fun. We will see you guys next time. Hope you can join us next week. So see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.